d'autres images se présentent, se mêlent dans un musée qui peut être celui de sa mémoire.
What is a memory? Is it a moment in time, a part of us that we retain, or is it a statement? A memory could be something that we recreate by remembering a scene or a sense or an emotion, and through this process, we retroactively verify and recontextualize the memory to make sense to us. Jatée is the story of a post-apocalyptic future following the events of World War III. Humanity is in shambles and have resorted to living underground due to the radiation. Scientists work to find solutions for life but are running out of options. The last hope comes from a form of memory-based time travel discovered by the scientists, and with nothing to lose, they use prisoners as guinea pigs to be experimented on. The time travel involves going back in time to a specific moment in the person's life which they can remember clearly. Because of this, the scientists discover that people with strong mental imagery and memory are the best candidates, as they are able to immerse themselves in the past, in that moment better. These experiments are inhumane, and we are made explicitly clear how dangerous they are, driving people to madness, but nevertheless they continue. Memory, as a concept, is handled as a categorical and tangible strength that is important not just within the context of the story, but also on a conceptual level. As you may have noticed, the director Chris Marker chose for Jatée to only be filmed through pictures over dialogue. These pictures represent the theme of memory, which compares the stillness and isolation of a picture to one of a memory. Often, a picture and memory go hand in hand, so within the context of the film, it makes sense, as we come to understand the pictures to also be memories and moments, rather than events and scenes. Furthermore, however, we are told how memory also defines the last hope for humanity.
Il vit un homme sans passion, qui lui expliqua posément que la race humaine était maintenant condamnée, que l'espace lui était fermé, que la seule liaison possible avec les moyens de survie.
The only chance the world in the film has is to be able to harness the utility of a memory to find a solution. This representation of a memory defines it as not just a moment in time, but something that is never irrelevant or unavoidable. In some ways, I believe the film is telling us that our memories and past hold more power than we think. The main character of the film is this unnamed prisoner who, as a kid, vividly remembers the moments right before World War III. He remembers seeing the screaming face of an elusive woman right before the cries and chaos for all ensue. During the experiments, he spends time with this woman, eventually falling in love with her, cherishing the many moments of his life that he could never experience as an adult with her. The main character becomes so deeply involved with the woman that he eventually becomes adept enough at traveling through time and is able to control exactly when and how he visits her as long as he is within the experiment.
Maintenant, le tir est parfaitement ajusté. Projeté sur l'instant choisi, il peut y demeurer et s'y mouvoir sans peine.
However, at the point of total emancipation, being able to effectively escape his reality, the man is woken up from the experiment and realizes the scientists were simply just training his abilities of time travel to instead jump into the future to see if humanity is still alive. The prisoner realizes he will never be able to see the woman again. Through more forced experiments, the prisoner eventually succeeds and jumps into the disturbing future where 4 people meet to greet him, expecting his arrival. This confirms that humanity has succeeded in surviving, and the people from the future give the prisoner a power unit so potent it would be able to, quote-unquote, set all human industry in motion again. The prisoner then awakes from his dream, where he finally realizes that his experiment is complete, and that he will return to being a meaningless prisoner waiting around to die. The movie doesn't end there, however. The prisoner, in his effective purgatory, receives a message from the people of the future, who offer to let him escape and join them. He refuses. instead asking if they can take him to that moment when he was a kid, the moment right before World War III. And he is brought there, searching the airport for the woman. And as he approaches closer and closer, he notices one of the jailers who had helped experiment on him there too. And in that moment, the prisoner is shot and dies, retroactively recreating the scene that the prisoner remembers so vividly as a child. Slavoj Žižek, a modern philosopher, talks about being able to change the past. He cites Shakespeare as an example of this. He says, paraphrased, "Only in the present are we able to truly see how badly Hamlet treated his mother and Ophelia." Shakespeare himself did not fully know the depths of the characters he created, and only through the present are we able to give Shakespeare his credit and recontextualize his writings. Jatée believes this sentiment. A moment in the present can recontextualize the past. Memories are not stagnant or impenetrable. It is in fact quite the opposite, being fluid and tangible. We often perceive memories as facts, a recollection of things that happened. It could be a time, a place, a feeling. But in truth, memories are what we make of them, what we perceive, what we choose to remember, and what we decide on. However, we should be wary not to perceive ourselves as lucid gods, nor should we reduce memories to mere fiction. We have a relationship with our memories, and in the same way we can mold and recreate them, our memories can shape and affect us. In the novel Invisible Cities by Italo Calvino, we read the conversation between a Mongol emperor, Kublai Khan, and Venetian traveler Marco Polo. Marco Polo describes his travels and discoveries and the grand cities that he nor Kublai Khan have ever seen. In a brief pause of the conversation, Kublai Khan asks Marco why he doesn't speak about Venice, Marco's own city. Marco replies, "Every time I describe a city, I am saying something about Venice. Memories' images, once they are fixed in words, are erased. Perhaps I am afraid of losing Venice all at once if I speak of it. Or perhaps, speaking of other cities, I have already lost it." Memories have power over us. When we choose to remember, we are accessing a part of ourselves that directly defines us. It is important to be careful with this principle. In La Jetée, this memory defined our prisoner. The ending shows this by symbolically linking his own emancipatory ability as the same thing that kills him. The moment that spurs the prisoner on to be able to save humanity is the same one that leads to his death. The ending is often perceived as pessimistic and bleak, but I think the case of the prisoner could be seen as innately representative of humanity as a whole. Taking the whole story into account, it can be seen as a metaphor of life, battling through hopelessness and finding beauty and meaning from it. The images that Chris Marker uses are incredibly beautiful and show off what being human is like. I often find my breath being taken away when I watch this film. Yes, the prisoner does die and is the cause of his own death, but I can't imagine any response more authentically human than the one he enacts. The ending is bleak and potent. It feels to me that it is saying that we are still individuals that have limits. But it is also saying, from the film as a whole, that those limitations are what make us human. We cherish and hold our memories close, because at the end of the day, they are all we will have left. When I grow old and cannot make many more meaningful memories, I will look back at the memories that I have and find solace in being human.